Picture this. You're standing on the deck of a ship, caught in a raging tempest. The wind howls like a beast unleashed. Waves crash against the hull with unrelenting fury, and the horizon is swallowed by darkness. This is no ordinary storm. It's the chaos of your own emotions, spiraling out of control, threatening to drag you under. You've felt it before, haven't you? That surge of anger that burns through your veins, or the icy grip of fear that locks your limbs. Unchecked, these forces can shatter your relationships, derail your dreams, and leave you lost at sea. But here's the truth. You are the captain of this vessel. You hold the power to find your anchor, to steady yourself amidst the storm within. In this journey of control your emotions, control your life, we begin by understanding the destructive force of unchecked emotions. Let's dive into the heart of the tempest and uncover how to reclaim your command. Imagine a quiet evening at home, the kind where laughter usually fills the air. You're sitting across from someone you love, a partner, a sibling, a lifelong friend. But tonight, tension simmers beneath the surface. A small disagreement flares into a heated argument, words flying like daggers. You feel the heat rising in your chest, a wildfire of anger you can't contain. Before you know it, you lash out, saying things you don't mean, each syllable a brick in a wall between you. The room falls silent, but the damage is done. Their eyes, once warm with trust, now reflect hurt and distance. You've stormed through a cherished bond, leaving wreckage in your wake. Days pass, but the silence lingers. You replay the moment, wishing you could reel back those words. Why did you let anger steer the ship? You realize now that it wasn't just about that argument. It was every unchecked frustration, every buried resentment that fueled the blaze. Like a ship caught in a squall, you were tossed by emotion, with no anchor to hold you steady. But here's the lesson. Destruction isn't the end. It's a signal, a call to rebuild. You reach out, apologize, and start the slow work of mending what's broken. You learn that anger, left unchecked, is a storm that can sink even the strongest vessels. But when you pause, breathe, and choose your words, you drop an anchor that holds firm against the gale. This is the first step to mastering your emotions, recognizing their power to destroy and your power to redirect them. Now picture yourself standing at the edge of a life-changing moment. Maybe it's a job interview for a role you've dreamed of, or a stage where you're about to share your voice with the world. Your heart races, palms slick with sweat. You've prepared for this, poured hours into perfecting every detail, but as the moment arrives, a wave of anxiety crashes over you. Thoughts spiral. What if I fail? What if I'm not enough? Your mind becomes a storm of doubt, and your body freezes. You stumble through your words, or worse, you don't speak at all. The opportunity slips through your fingers like sand, leaving you with nothing but regret. In the quiet aftermath, you sit with the weight of what could have been. You see now how anxiety became the storm that threw your ship off course. You were so consumed by fear of the unknown that you couldn't steer toward the harbor of possibility. But here's where the anchor comes in. Reflecting on this loss, you realize that emotions like fear aren't the enemy. They're signals. They warn you of danger, but they shouldn't command the wheel. Next time, you vow to feel the fear but act anyway, to let it be a gust of wind that pushes you forward rather than a typhoon that capsizes you. The lesson is clear. Unchecked anxiety can paralyze, but when you anchor yourself in purpose, you sail through even the fiercest doubts. Let's pause and look deeper into this storm within. Emotions are not mere feelings. They are primal forces, as wild and untamed as the ocean itself. Anger roars like thunder, shaking the very foundation of your being. Fear creeps like fog, obscuring your vision until you're blind to your own strength. Sadness weighs like an endless rain, threatening to drown you in despair. Why do these forces hold such sway over us? Because we've been taught to react, not to respond. We've been conditioned to let the storm dictate our course, to believe we're powerless against its might. But consider this, a ship isn't built to drift aimlessly in a tempest. It's crafted to endure, to cut through waves, to find its way even when the skies are black. You are that ship. Your emotions are the weather, unpredictable, powerful, inevitable. Yet they do not define your destination. Unchecked, they can shatter your hull against unseen rocks, but harnessed, they can fuel your journey. How many times have you let a single gust of anger or a wave of fear steer you away from your true path? The storm within is destructive only when you surrender the helm. Take it back. Recognize the chaos for what it is, a force to navigate, not a fate to accept. Think of awareness as your anchor, a weight that steadies you when the storm rages. Without it, you're at the mercy of every emotional squall, tossed from one extreme to another. Anger blinds you, fear binds you, and despair buries you. But with awareness, you see the storm for what it is, a passing force, not a permanent state. You notice the heat of anger before it erupts, the tremor of anxiety before it paralyzes. And in that moment of recognition, you gain a sliver of control. Isn't it remarkable how a single breath, a single pause, can shift the tide? Picture a captain standing firm on deck, eyes scanning the horizon even as the wind screams. That's you. When you anchor yourself in awareness, emotions will always surge. They're part of the human voyage, but they don't have to rule you. Awareness lets you map their patterns, predict their swells, and prepare your response. It's not about suppressing the storm, it's about sailing through it with purpose. So ask yourself, how often do you let emotions sweep you away before you even notice their approach? The anchor is always within reach. Drop it, steady yourself, and remember, the storm within only destroys when you forget you're the one holding the wheel. When anger ignites within you, it's like a sudden squall, fierce, blinding, and ready to wreak havoc. But you can stop the destruction before it starts. The first step is to pause. Yes, pause. In the heat of the moment, when your pulse races and words claw at your throat, step back, physically, if you must. Walk away from the argument. Close your eyes or clench your fists to ground yourself. Then, take 3 deep breaths. Let each inhale be a rope tying you to calm. Each exhale a release of that fiery surge. Next, name the emotion. Say to yourself, I'm angry. This simple act of labeling pulls you out of the storm's center and puts you back at the helm. Ask, why am I feeling this? Is it the situation or something deeper, a past wound, a hidden fear? Finally, choose your response. Will you speak with intention, or will you let the storm speak for you? This pause, this anchor of awareness, can save a relationship, a moment, a lifetime of regret. Practice it daily, even in small frustrations. The more you pause, the stronger your grip on the wheel becomes. You're not just reacting, you're commanding. Anxiety is a stealthy storm, creeping up until it engulfs you in doubt. Before a big moment, a presentation, a decision, a leap, its waves can freeze you in place. But you can navigate this too. Start by breaking the overwhelming into the manageable. If you're facing a major opportunity, don't stare at the entire ocean of what ifs. Focus on the next small wave. Write down one task to complete right now, review a single slide, rehearse one line, take one deep breath. Action, no matter how tiny, is your anchor against paralysis. Then visualize the shore. Picture yourself succeeding, not in grand triumph, but in quiet completion. See yourself stepping through the moment, steady and sure. Finally, and to remind yourself, this storm of anxiety is temporary. It will pass, whether you act or not, but acting shapes the outcome. When fear whispers, counter it with truth. I've prepared. I'm ready enough. Take that first step, even if your knees tremble. Each move forward weakens the storm's hold. You're not just surviving anxiety, you're sailing past it, one deliberate choice at a time. We've journeyed through the storm within, witnessing the destructive force of unchecked emotions, You've seen how anger can shatter bonds, how anxiety can steal opportunities, leaving behind the debris of regret. But you've also uncovered a profound truth. You are not powerless. Like a ship in a tempest, you can find your anchor, awareness, pause, deliberate choice, and steer through even the darkest chaos. The key lesson is this: unchecked emotions are a storm that can sink you, but recognizing and redirecting them is the first step to mastering your life. As we move forward in this voyage of control your emotions, control your life, carry this insight with you. The storm will rage again, it's inevitable, but now you know it doesn't have to rule you. You're building the strength to stand firm on deck, to scan the horizon, to chart your course no matter the weather. Let this be your guiding light as we sail into the next chapter of transformation. Hold fast to your anchor, for it's your power to weather any tempest. Steady your ship, anchor within, the storm will pass. Picture a blacksmith's forge, the air thick with heat, the glow of molten iron casting shadows on soot-streaked walls. You stand there, hammer in hand, staring at a raw, unshaped piece of metal. It's rough, unyielding, full of flaws, much like the emotions that surge within you, untamed and wild. Will you strike, or will you falter? In this moment, you are the smith, and your emotions are the iron. To control your life, you must first forge the blade of will, tempering your responses with discipline until they serve your purpose. This is not a game of chance, it's a craft of mastery. Welcome to the heart of transformation, where the fire of struggle shapes you into something unbreakable. Let's step into the forge together and explore the need for discipline to shape emotional responses. For in this heat, you will find the power to control your emotions, and thus, control your life. Imagine yourself at your desk, the clock ticking past deadlines, emails piling up like bricks in a collapsing wall. Your colleague drops another last-minute task on you, their tone careless, almost mocking. Heat rises in your chest, frustration, sharp and jagged, claws at your restraint. You want to snap, to let the words fly like sparks from a struck anvil. Your hands tremble as you type a reply, each keystroke a potential explosion. This is the raw iron of emotion, unrefined, threatening to shatter under pressure. You've been here before, and you know the cost of letting it break you. Strained relationships, regret that lingers like smoke. But this time, you stop. You breathe. You pull your hands back from the keyboard as if stepping away from a raging flame. You recall the blacksmith's art. Raw iron doesn't become a blade through reckless blows. It demands patience, precision. So you pause, you ask yourself, what does this moment require of me? Not anger, but focus. Not reaction, but response. You stand, walk to the break room. Let the cool water from a glass douse the inner fire. Returning, you address the task with clarity, your words measured, your tone firm but calm. The frustration still hums beneath the surface, but it no longer controls you. You've struck the first blow, shaping the iron of your emotions into something useful. This is the lesson of the forge. Discipline is your hammer. Each pause, each choice to refocus, tempers your emotional rawness into strength. You didn't just handle a task, you forged a piece of your will, and in that act, you moved closer to mastering your life. The takeaway is clear. Discipline transforms the chaos of emotion into a tool for progress. Now, see yourself in a different arena, your home, where the stakes feel even higher. It's evening, the day's weight pressing on your shoulders like a storm cloud ready to burst. Bills loom, work stress gnaws at your edges, and now your child, small, fierce and unstoppable, throws a tantrum over a broken toy. Their cries pierce the air, each wail a hammer blow against your fraying patience. You feel the surge, the urge to shout, to match their chaos with your own. Your voice rises, teetering on the edge of a cliff. This is the iron of stress, molten and dangerous, threatening to spill over and burn everything in its path. Yet, In that split second, you catch yourself. You remember the blacksmith, standing resolute before the forge, knowing that heat alone doesn't shape metal, control does. You close your eyes, draw a deep breath, let it flow through you like a cooling wind over glowing steel. One breath, then another. You kneel to your child's level, your voice soft, a steady anchor in their storm. I see you're upset, you say, not as a reprimand, but as a bridge. Together, you sit, you breathe, you mend the moment, if not the toy. The tantrum ebbs, and so does your inner tempest. What did you forge here? Not just a calm response, but a bond of trust. You taught your child and yourself that emotions don't rule, will does. Discipline turned a potential fracture into a foundation. The takeaway echoes again. By tempering your reactions, you shape not only your life, but the lives of those around you. Step back now into the quiet heat of reflection. Within you burns a forge, an ancient workshop where every emotion is raw material waiting to be shaped. Anger, fear, frustration. They are not flaws to be cast aside, but iron to be worked. The question looms: do you wield the hammer, or do you let the fire consume you? Too often, we see emotions as enemies, storms to be endured until they pass. But what if they are gifts, rough and unpolished, waiting for your discipline to reveal their purpose? Consider the blacksmith. They don't curse the iron for its brittleness. They heat it, strike it, fold it, until it holds an edge. So it is with your emotional life. Discipline is not suppression, it's transformation. When frustration boils, it's a signal to pause, to channel that energy into focus. When stress weighs heavy, it's an invitation to breathe, to steady your hand before the next blow. Without discipline, emotions scatter like sparks, igniting chaos. With it, they become blades of will, cutting through obstacles with precision. How often have you let the fire rule, only to find ashes in its wake? And how much could change if you stepped into the forge as master, not victim? This is the heart of controlling your life. Your emotions are not the storm, they are the raw force you harness to sail through it. Discipline is the art of tempering, the skill that turns inner turmoil into outer strength. Embrace the heat, shape the iron, forge your will. Let's linger in the forge a moment longer. Watching the blacksmith at work, notice how they don't rush. They heat the iron slowly, strike with intention, cool it with care. A single misstep, a hurried blow, and the blade cracks. So it is with you. Emotional mastery demands patience, a willingness to endure the slow burn of growth. Ask yourself, how many times have you reacted in haste, only to fracture a moment that could have been forged into triumph? Discipline is not a quick fix, it's a lifelong craft. Each time you pause before speaking, each time you choose calm over chaos, you fold a layer of strength into your being. Think of a river carving through stone, not through force, but through relentless, patient flow. Your will is that river. Emotions may crash like waves in a tempest, but with disciplined persistence, you carve a path through even the hardest challenges. The forge teaches us that strength is not born in a single strike, but in the steady rhythm of effort. You don't need to be perfect today. You need to strike today, to temper today, to build the blade of will one blow at a time. This truth ties to the greater journey of controlling your life. Emotions are powerful, but without the patience of discipline, they wield you. Take up the hammer, trust the process. Let each moment of restraint forge a sharper, stronger version of yourself. When the heat of emotion rises, your first tool is the pause. It's a simple act, yet it holds the power of a blacksmith stepping back to assess the iron. The next time frustration or anger surges, whether at work, in traffic, or at home, stop. Don't speak. Don't act. Just breathe for 10 seconds. Count each inhale and exhale as if cooling molten steel. This pause is your forge door, giving you space to choose. While you breathe, ask yourself one question. What does this moment need from me? Not what you feel like doing, but what will shape the outcome you want. Write down your answer if you can. It anchors you. Maybe the moment needs a calm word, a step away, or a refocused effort. Whatever it is, let discipline guide your hammer, not impulse. Practice this daily. Make the pause a habit, a ritual of tempering. Soon, you'll find the raw edge of emotion dulling, replaced by a blade of clarity. This is how you control your response, and through it, your life. Breath is your cooling water, the balance to emotion's fire. When stress or overwhelm threatens to shatter your resolve, turn to it as a blacksmith turns to the quench. Try this. In a moment of tension, close your eyes if possible, and take 5 slow, deep breaths. Inhale through your nose for a count of 4, hold for 4, exhale through your mouth for 6. Feel the air move, grounding you like a steady hand on the anvil. As you breathe one, visualize the emotion as iron in the forge, hot, pliable, but not yet shaped. Each breath cools it just enough for you to strike with intention. After the 5th breath, decide your next step. Speak if you must, act if you must, but do so with will, not reaction. Practice this in calm moments too, so it becomes second nature when the storm hits. Breath is always with you, a tool of discipline to temper any surge. Use it to forge control, moment by moment, until your life reflects the strength of your will. As we step out of the forge, the heat still lingers on your skin, a reminder of the work you've done. You've seen the raw iron of emotion in the frustration of a workplace burden and the stress of a child's storm. You've felt the hammer of discipline in pausing, in breathing, in choosing response over reaction. The takeaway burns bright. Discipline is the key to shaping your emotional responses, turning chaos into a blade of will that cuts through life's challenges. This is not the end of the craft, but a foundation. Each strike, each tempered moment, builds the mastery you seek over your emotions, and through them, over your life. Carry this heat forward. The forge within you never cools. It waits for the next test, the next opportunity to shape strength from struggle. As we move to the next chapter of this journey, remember the rhythm of the blacksmith's art. Keep striking, keep tempering, keep forging. Your will is the blade, and your life is the masterpiece it carves. Forge your will, shape your life. Picture yourself atop a jagged peak, the world sprawling endless below. The wind howls, fierce and unrelenting, clawing at your resolve, threatening to hurl you into the abyss. Yet, there you stand, unshaken, unbreakable. This is the essence of resilience, the heart of mastering your emotions to master your life. In the storm of disappointment, grief, and doubt, you are the mountain, enduring the gales of emotional turbulence with quiet, unyielding strength. How often have you felt the gusts of failure push against you, daring you to crumble? This section, standing unshaken, is your call to rise above, to plant your feet firm against the tempest and declare, I will not fall. Within the broader journey of controlling your emotions to control your life, we now forge the armor of resilience. You will learn to weather any storm, to stand tall when the winds of despair scream loudest. Let's climb this peak together, feel the bite of the wind, and choose to endure. Imagine yourself as a young student, heart pounding with ambition, sitting at a worn desk cluttered with applications. You've poured your soul into every word, every line a dream of a brighter future, a scholarship, an internship, a chance to prove your worth. You send them off, hope flickering like a candle in the dark. Days turn to weeks, and the first rejection lands like a stone in your chest. Not selected, then another, and another. Each email a gust of icy wind, slicing through your confidence, whispering, "You're not enough." Your friends celebrate their acceptances. You scroll through their posts, a hollow ache spreading within. The temptation to stop, to retreat, looms large. Why keep climbing when the peak seems so far? But you pause. You breathe. You remember the mountain, like that ancient peak enduring the howling wind. You choose not to be moved by the storm of rejection. You rewrite your essays, refine your applications, and send them again. Not because it's easy, but because surrender is not who you are. Months later, after countless no's, a single yes arrives. It's not just an acceptance, it's a testament to your unyielding spirit. That moment, standing unshaken amidst the gale of disappointment, you realize the storm didn't break you. It carved you into something stronger. The lesson echoes like a distant thunder. Resilience isn't about avoiding the wind, it's about standing firm until it passes. You didn't just survive the rejections, you became the mountain they couldn't topple. Now picture a different storm. You've lost someone dear, a parent, a partner, a friend. The world feels emptier, as if the sun itself has dimmed. Grief is a relentless wind, tearing at the edges of your soul, threatening to uproot everything you've built. You wake each morning to an ache that words can't name, the silence of their absence deafening. It would be so easy to let this tempest consume you, to abandon the routines that once gave life meaning. Why rise when the weight of sorrow pins you down? Yet, in the midst of this darkness, you choose to stand. Like a mountain defying the fiercest gale, you cling to the small, steady acts that tether you to purpose. You make your bed, though your hands tremble. You brew your coffee, though the mug feels heavier than stone. You step outside, though the world seems gray. Each act is a quiet rebellion against despair, a refusal to let grief erode your foundation. Over time, these routines, mundane as they seem, become your anchor. They don't erase the pain, but they hold you steady as the storm rages. One day, you notice the wind has softened. You smile at a memory without shattering. Standing unshaken, you've learned that resilience is not the absence of sorrow, but the choice to keep building your life, stone by stone, even as the tempest howls. The mountain within you endures, and so do you. Let's step back now and gaze at the broader horizon. What does it mean to stand unshaken when emotions threaten to sweep you away? Resilience is not a gift bestowed upon a chosen few. It is a skill, a muscle you forge in the heat of struggle. Think of yourself as that mountain, rooted deep into the earth, its surface scarred by centuries of wind and rain, yet still towering above the chaos. Every emotional storm, be it rejection, loss, or doubt, etches its mark upon you. But those marks are not wounds. They are proof of your endurance. They are the lines of a map, showing how far you've climbed. Have you ever considered that pain might be your greatest teacher, not your enemy? It is the wind that tests the mountain's strength, revealing what must be fortified. Resilience is also a choice, a deliberate act of defiance against the chaos within and without. When emotions surge like a river breaching its banks, you don't flee, you don't crumble, you stand, you plant your roots deeper, drawing strength from the very ground of your being, your values, your purpose, your refusal to be broken. Like a lighthouse enduring the crashing waves, you become a beacon, not just for yourself, but for others lost in their own storms. How many times have you underestimated your own capacity to endure? Reflect on this. Every tempest you've faced has passed, and you remain. That is the timeless truth of resilience. Storms are temporary, but your strength is eternal. Dive deeper with me into the shadow side of emotional turbulence. There is a seductive whisper in every storm, a voice that urges you to surrender. Give up, it murmurs as rejection stings or grief overwhelms. This pain is too much. Let go. But surrender is a heavier burden than endurance. When you abandon your climb, you don't just lose the peak, you lose a piece of yourself. Imagine a mountain that crumbles at the first gust. What becomes of its majesty? So it is with you. Each time you yield to emotional chaos, you erode your own foundation, making the next storm harder to withstand. Why trade the temporary relief of surrender for the lasting regret of what could have been? Yet, standing unshaken does not mean ignoring your emotions. It means facing them, feeling their full force, and choosing not to be ruled by them. Like a river cutting through stone, emotions shape you, but they do not dictate your path. You are the mountain, not the wind. You are the sculptor, not the clay. Resilience is the art of holding space for your pain without letting it hold you hostage. It's looking into the eye of the storm and saying, I see you, but I will not bow. This is the deeper philosophy of emotional control. To endure is to transform. Every gale you withstand reshapes you into something more unyielding, more magnificent. What storm are you facing now that could forge you anew if you refuse to break? So, how do you cultivate this resilience, this ability to stand unshaken when emotions rage? It begins with small, intentional acts, bricks in the wall of your inner fortress. First, when the wind of turmoil strikes, pause. Don't react in the heat of the moment. Step back, breathe, and ground yourself. Ask, is this storm as permanent as it feels, or will it pass? Write down your answer. Seeing your thoughts on paper often strips the gale of its power, revealing it as a fleeting squall, not a cataclysm. This simple act roots you like the mountain, steady against the gusts of anger or despair. Second, build a ritual of strength. Choose one action, be it a morning walk, a journal entry, or a moment of silence that you commit to. No matter how fierce the emotional storm, this is your anchor, your defiance against chaos. When rejection or grief threatens to uproot you, return to this ritual. Let it remind you of who you are beyond the tempest. Over time, these acts accumulate, forming a bedrock of resilience that no wind can shake. Start today. Pick your ritual and vow to honor it, even on the hardest days. Remember, Nana, the mountain doesn't flinch at the storm because its strength was built over eons, one steady layer at a time. So, too, will you build yours? Beyond grounding yourself and establishing rituals, resilience demands a mindset of relentless forward motion. When doubt or despair howls loudest, counter it with evidence of your past endurance. Keep a record, a journal, a note on your phone of every storm you've weathered. Write down the rejections you overcame, the losses you survived, the moments you thought you'd break but didn't. Review this list when the wind picks up. Let it be your shield, proof that you've stood unshaken before and will again. Ask yourself, if I endured that, why not this? This practice turns memory into armor, fortifying you against the next gale. Additionally, surround yourself with fellow mountains, people who embody resilience. Seek out those who face their own storms and emerge stronger. Listen to their stories. Let their endurance inspire yours. When you feel the wind of emotional turbulence, reach out. Share your struggle, not to burden, but to remind yourself you're not alone on this peak. Together, you form a range, each summit bolstering the others against the tempest. Start now. Identify one person whose strength you admire and connect with them this week. Resilience grows not just within, but through the shared resolve of those who stand beside you. As we descend from this rugged peak, let's carry the truth of standing unshaken with us. You've seen through the students' relentless applications and the grievers' quiet routines that resilience is not a passive trait. It's an active choice to stand firm when emotional storms rage. You've delved into the philosophy of endurance, understanding that pain and turmoil are not your undoing, but your forging. And you've armed yourself with practical steps, pausing before reacting, building rituals, recalling past victories, and leaning on others to weather any gale. The key lesson rings clear. To control your emotions is to control your life, and resilience is the cornerstone of that mastery. Like the mountain enduring the howling wind, you have the power to remain unshaken, no matter the tempest. As we prepare to journey onward, hold this image close. You are the peak, towering above the chaos. Your roots deep, your resolve deeper. Let every storm remind you of your strength, every wind a chance to stand taller. Face the next challenge with this unshakable truth in your heart, and know that no force can topple you unless you allow it. Together, we'll climb higher in the sections to come, building on this foundation of endurance to conquer even greater heights. Stand unshaken, let the wind howl, you will not fall. Picture a river, wild and untamed, crashing over rocks, spilling beyond its edges, its power both mesmerizing and destructive. Now imagine that same river guided by steady banks, its force channeled into a purposeful current, carving paths through mountains and nourishing the earth. That river is you. Your emotions, raw, fierce, and boundless, hold the same potential. Left unchecked, they can flood your life with chaos, but when guided with intention, they become the current that propels you forward. Welcome to the art of mastering your inner tide. In this journey of control your emotions, control your life, we're diving into practical strategies to channel your emotions constructively. You're not here to suppress the storm within, you're here to harness it. How often have you let excitement scatter your focus or jealousy poison your peace? Today, you learn to build the banks that guide your river. Let's begin. You've just received the news. After months of grinding late nights and pushing past self-doubt, the promotion you've been chasing is yours. Your heart races, your mind buzzes with 1,000 thoughts. You want to call everyone you know, splurge on a celebration, and post about it online for the world to see. Excitement surges through you like a river breaking free, and suddenly, you're overwhelmed. Instead of focusing on what's next, you're lost in the rush. This is where Maya found herself, a driven professional in her 30s. She'd spent years climbing the corporate ladder. When the email confirming her new role as team lead arrived, she was ecstatic. But within hours, her joy turned to chaos. She couldn't sleep, couldn't focus, and started overcommitting to every idea that popped into her head. New projects, team outings, ambitious pitches. She was drowning in her own enthusiasm. Then, Maya remembered a tool she'd once read about: journaling. She grabbed a notebook and started writing, not just random thoughts, but structured reflections. What did this promotion mean to her? What were her top 3 goals in this new role? How could she use this energy to build something lasting? Each night, she spent 10 minutes pouring her excitement onto the page, transforming it into a roadmap. The act was like building banks for her river. Her emotions no longer spilled everywhere. They flowed toward purpose. Within a week, she had a clear plan for her team, a prioritized list of initiatives, and a renewed sense of control. Her excitement didn't vanish. It became fuel, like a river guided by its banks. Maya learned that emotions, when channeled, carve paths to greatness. The lesson here is simple. Raw energy isn't enough. You must direct it with intention. Now imagine this. You're scrolling through social media, and there it is, someone you know, someone close, has just achieved something you've been longing for. A new business venture, a dream vacation, a public accolade. A bitter pang twists in your chest. Jealousy. It's a venomous current, threatening to sweep you into resentment. This is where Liam stood one gray afternoon. A freelance graphic designer. He'd been hustling for years, pitching to clients, and refining his craft. But when a colleague, someone he'd started out with, landed a major contract with a high-profile brand, Liam felt the sting. Why not me? What am I doing wrong? The questions gnawed at him, pulling him into a spiral of self-doubt. But Liam refused to let this current drag him under. Instead of stewing, he sat down with a pen and paper. He wrote down what he envied about his colleague's success: the recognition, the financial boost, the creative freedom. Then, beside each, he listed one actionable step he could take to move closer to those things. Recognition? He'd pitch to 3 new clients this week. Financial boost? He'd raise his rates for the next project. Creative freedom? He'd carve out time for a passion project to showcase his unique style. Jealousy became his compass. Each benchmark he set was a bank guiding his river, turning a destructive emotion into a motivating force. Months later, Liam landed his own big contract, not because he copied anyone, but because he channeled his envy into growth. The river of emotion, once wild, now flowed with purpose. What could you transform if you stopped fighting your feelings and started guiding them? Let's pause and look inward. Your emotions are not your enemy. They are your rawest power. Think of them as a river coursing through the landscape of your soul. Without banks, this river floods, destroying everything in its path: relationships, decisions, peace of mind. But with strong, intentional boundaries, that same river becomes a source of life, cutting through obstacles and shaping the world around you. How often have you let a sudden wave of anger sweep you into words you later regretted? How many times has unchecked excitement led you to promises you couldn't keep? The truth is, you're not powerless against these currents. You are the architect of the banks that guide them. Consider the nature of a river. It doesn't resist its own flow. It doesn't fight its essence. It simply moves. And when guided, it moves with purpose. So too must you embrace the emotions that surge within. Excitement, jealousy, fear. They are not flaws to be erased, but forces to be directed. When you feel the rush, don't drown in it. Step back. Build your banks. Ask yourself, where can this energy take me if I shape its path? The river of emotion is inevitable, but its destination is yours to choose. You hold the tools to channel it, whether through reflection, action, or sheer will. Stop seeing your feelings as burdens. See them as rivers waiting for your guidance, ready to carve canyons of achievement through the stone of your challenges. There's a quiet strength in the banks of a river, an unspoken resolve that holds even the fiercest current in check. They don't stop the flow, they give it meaning. So it is with the strategies you build to manage your emotions. Journaling, setting benchmarks, pausing to breathe. These are not mere tactics. They are the fortifications of your spirit. They demand patience, for a river's path isn't shaped in a day. They demand courage, for you must face the full force of your feelings to guide them. Have you ever considered how much power lies in a single moment of restraint? How a single choice to redirect anger into determination can alter the course of your life? Think of your emotions as molten iron, fresh from the forge of your heart. Unguided, it spills and burns. But shaped by the mold of your will, it becomes a blade, sharp, purposeful, unbreakable. The river of feeling within you is no different. It begs for structure, for banks forged from your decisions. When jealousy rises, don't let it poison you. Mold it into ambition. When excitement surges, don't let it scatter you. Temper it into focus. The banks you build today determine the legacy you leave tomorrow. A river without guidance is chaos, but a river with purpose is creation itself. So stand firm. Be the sculptor of your inner current. Let every wave of emotion serve your higher vision. For in this act of guidance, you claim true control over your life. When emotions threaten to overwhelm you, grab a pen. Journaling is one of the simplest, most powerful ways to build banks for your inner river. It's not about venting aimlessly. It's about directing the flow. Start with this. Set aside 10 minutes each day, especially when you feel a strong emotion, excitement, frustration, or envy. Write down what you're feeling without judgment. Name it. I'm buzzing with energy after that news. Or, I'm bitter seeing their success. Then ask, what triggered this? Be specific. Was it a word, an event, a memory? Next, write one way this emotion could serve you. Could excitement push you to plan a bold move? Could envy point to a goal you've neglected? Finally, enlist one actionable step to channel this energy. If you're excited, decide on a priority to focus that buzz. If you're jealous, pick a skill to improve or a milestone to aim for. This process turns a flood into a stream. It's not magic, it's structure. Maya used it to harness her promotion high, and you can too. Keep your journal close. It's your blueprint for guiding the current. When the river of emotion rises, don't let it sweep you away. Write, reflect, redirect. You'll be amazed at how quickly chaos transforms into clarity. Another tool to channel your emotions is setting personal benchmarks. Think of them as guideposts along your river's path, marking the way forward. When jealousy or frustration surges, don't let it stagnate into resentment. Use it as a signal to grow. Start by identifying what's stirring you. Is it someone else's achievement? A personal setback? Pinpoint the root. Then, set a small, measurable goal tied to what you desire. Want recognition? Commit to finishing one project this week to showcase your skills. Craving progress? Dedicate an hour daily to learning a new craft. Write these benchmarks down. Track them. Celebrate each step, no matter how small. Liam turned jealousy into motivation by doing this, creating stepping stones from a bitter emotion. You can do the same. Benchmarks aren't about comparison, they're about direction. They keep your emotional current moving toward growth, not destruction. When the wave of feeling hits, don't flinch, pause, set a marker, move toward it. Your river will follow, carving a path of purpose through the wilderness of doubt. One step at a time, you guide the flow, and with it, your life. As we close this chapter of Guiding the Current, remember the river within you. Emotions are not chains to bind you, they are forces to propel you. Through the stories of Maya and Liam, you've seen how excitement can be focused through journaling and how jealousy can be transformed into motivation through benchmarks. These are your banks, your tools to channel the raw power of feeling into purposeful action. Reflect on the philosophy we've explored. Your emotions are a river, inevitable and mighty, but their path is yours to shape. The key lesson is that control begins with guidance. Build your banks, and the current will serve your vision. You've learned to pause, to reflect, to act with intention. Carry these strategies forward. When the next wave of emotion rises, don't fear it, embrace it, direct it. You are the architect of your inner landscape, the shaper of your river's course. As we prepare to delve deeper into mastering your emotional tides in the next section, hold this truth close. You are stronger than any storm within. Let it flow, but let it flow with purpose. Stand firm at the river's edge and guide your current to greatness. Guide your river, shape your destiny. Picture a fog so thick, so suffocating, that it cloaks every step of your journey in uncertainty. You've stumbled through it before, driven by impulse, lost in the haze of unchecked emotions. But now, you stand as a lighthouse, your inner light piercing through the murk, illuminating not just your path, but the paths of others who look to you for guidance. This is the transformation of emotional mastery, a power that doesn't just save you from the storm, but turns you into a beacon of hope. In this moment, as we explore illuminating your path, you'll see how controlling your emotions doesn't merely change your life, it reshapes the world around you. Within the broader journey of control your emotions, control your life, this section celebrates the profound impact of your newfound strength. Feel the weight of that light within you? Are you ready to shine brighter than ever before? Remember the version of yourself who reacted without thought? The one who snapped in anger at a slight misunderstanding? Who let frustration derail a crucial moment? Let's walk through a story of transformation, one that mirrors your own potential. Picture Sarah, a young professional in a high-stakes corporate environment. Early in her career, she was a wildfire, quick to flare up when criticized, her sharp words burning bridges before she could cross them. A single heated exchange with a colleague during a project meeting cost her a promotion. She felt the sting of regret, the fog of her own emotions clouding her judgment. But Sarah refused to remain lost. She began to pause, to breathe, to question her first impulse. Over months, she forged a new habit, When anger surged, she stepped back, wrote down her thoughts, and waited until clarity emerged. Years later, during a tense negotiation, Sarah faced a barrage of criticism from a client. The old wildfire flickered, but she stood firm, her calm response diffusing the tension. Her team watched in awe as she turned conflict into collaboration, securing the deal. More than that, her colleagues began to seek her out for advice, inspired by her unshakable poise. Sarah had become a lighthouse, her emotional control piercing the fog of workplace chaos, guiding others to safer shores. Her story reflects the takeaway of this journey. Mastering your emotions transforms you into a source of strength for others. Like a lighthouse, you don't just stand for yourself. You stand for those lost in their own storms. How many lives could you touch by holding steady when the waves crash? Now let's turn to a different horizon, where emotional mastery becomes the cornerstone of leadership. Imagine Marcus, a project manager tasked with leading a team through a critical deadline. A sudden crisis hits. Budget cuts threaten to derail months of work, and panic ripples through his team. In the past, Marcus might have joined the frenzy, lashing out in frustration or crumbling under pressure, but he had learned the art of emotional control, honed through years of facing smaller storms. He knew that his team didn't need a captain who swayed with every gust. They needed a beacon of trust. In the eye of this crisis, Marcus called a meeting. His voice was steady, his demeanor unshaken, even as doubt gnawed at him internally. He acknowledged the challenge, laid out a plan, and invited input, all while maintaining a calm that anchored everyone in the room. Behind closed doors, he wrestled with his own fears, but he refused to let them spill over. Instead, he channeled them into focus, into solutions. Over weeks, his team rallied, inspired by his resolve. They met the deadline, not just surviving the crisis, but emerging stronger. Marcus became more than a manager. He became a lighthouse, his emotional mastery cutting through the fog of uncertainty, showing his team that chaos could be tamed. The lesson shines clear. When you control your emotions, you don't just navigate your own life, you become the light that others follow. What kind of leader will you choose to be when the storm hits? Pause for a moment and consider the fog that once defined your life. It wasn't just the external chaos, deadlines, conflicts, failures, but the internal haze of unchecked emotions that blurred your vision. Anger, fear, and doubt were like a dense mist, obscuring your path, making every step feel like a gamble. Yet, through discipline and will, you've ignited something within, a light that no storm can extinguish. This is the essence of emotional mastery, not the absence of turmoil, but the power to shine through it. Like a lighthouse perched on a jagged cliff, your strength doesn't deny the raging sea below. It defies it, offering clarity to yourself and others. Think about the broader impact of this transformation. Every time you choose calm over chaos, patience over impulse, you're not just saving yourself, you're lighting the way for someone else. Your family sees it when you hold your temper during a heated argument. Your friends feel it when you listen without judgment. Your coworkers trust it when you steer through crisis with a steady hand. How many lives have been dimmed because you once let your emotions rule? And how many can now be illuminated because you've learned to stand as a beacon? Emotional control is not a solitary victory. It's a gift you give to the world, a ripple that extends far beyond your own shore. Let's dive deeper into the alchemy of your influence. Emotional mastery is not a quiet, personal triumph. It's a force that reshapes the very landscape around you. Think of yourself as a smith at the forge, hammering raw emotion into refined strength. Each strike, each moment of restraint, crafts a tool of trust and inspiration. When you refuse to let anger swing wildly, when you temper fear with courage, you create something enduring, a legacy of stability that others can lean on. The fog of doubt may still roll in, but your light, forged in the heat of discipline, cuts through it with unwavering precision. Have you ever considered the weight of your example? A child watching you navigate loss with grace, learns that pain doesn't have to break us. A colleague witnessing your composure under pressure discovers that panic isn't the only response to challenge. Your emotional control becomes a mirror, reflecting what's possible for others. It's not about perfection, it's about persistence. Even when you falter, the act of rising again, of piercing the fog once more, teaches resilience. So ask yourself, what kind of forge are you building? Are you crafting a light that warms and guides? Or are you still letting raw emotion scatter sparks in the dark? The choice is yours, and its impact echoes beyond what you can see. Now let's ground this transformation in action. You've seen how emotional mastery turns you into a lighthouse for others. But how do you sustain that light when the fog rolls in? Start with the power of the pause. The next time a wave of anger or frustration surges, whether it's a cutting remark from a loved one or a setback at work, stop. Don't speak. Don't react. Take 3 deep breaths, letting each exhale carry away the impulse to lash out. In that space, ask yourself, what does this moment need from me? Not what you feel, but what will serve the situation. This simple act shifts you from passenger to pilot, from storm-tossed to steady. Then, reflect. After the moment passes, write down what triggered you and how you handled it. Look for patterns. Maybe criticism always ignites defensiveness, or uncertainty sparks anxiety. Awareness is your lens. It helps you see the fog before it blinds you. Finally, share your calm. When others around you spiral, offer a steady word or a listening ear. Your control becomes their anchor. These steps, pause, reflect, share, build your light brick by brick. They ensure that when the haze thickens, you're not just surviving it, you're illuminating it for everyone who looks to you. Emotional mastery isn't a one-time victory, it's a daily construction, a lighthouse you build stone by stone. Begin each morning with intention. Take 5 minutes to sit in silence, envisioning the day ahead. Picture the challenges, tight deadlines, tough conversations, and decide now how you'll respond. Tell yourself, I will not be swayed by the first gust of emotion. I will stand firm. This mental rehearsal primes your mind to act as a beacon, not a reed bending in the wind. During the day, carry a small reminder of your strength, a note in your pocket, a word on your desk that says, "Control is my light." When emotions threaten to pull you under, glance at it and reset. At day's end, evaluate. What moments tested you? Where did you shine? And where did you flicker? Commit to one improvement for tomorrow. Maybe it's listening longer before responding or recognizing stress before it erupts. This daily rhythm, set intention, carry a reminder, evaluate, fortifies your emotional control, ensuring your influence grows stronger with every sunrise. You're not just mastering yourself, you're lighting the way for others, one deliberate choice at a time. As we close this chapter of illuminating your path, reflect on the journey you've walked. You've seen how emotional mastery transforms not just your life, but the lives of those around you, turning Sarah from a wildfire into a guide, and Marcus from a wavering leader into a beacon of trust. You've pondered the profound ripple of your light, how it pierces the fog of chaos to offer clarity and hope. And you've armed yourself with tools to build that light daily, to stand firm when the storms rage. The key lesson shines brighter than ever. Mastering your emotions transforms you into a source of strength for others. Your control is not a shield, it's a signal, a call to others that they, too, can navigate their own haze. Let this truth anchor you as we prepare to move forward, to explore new dimensions of control your emotions, control your life. Carry your light with pride, knowing that every step of restraint, every choice of calm, extends your glow further. Stand tall, unwavering, and let your inner lighthouse cut through any darkness that dares to approach. Be the light, pierce the fog, guide the lost,